Welcome to issue 14 of the official Handbook to the Marvel Universe, Master Edition, definitive reference sheets, and super statistics. I have actually managed to avoid learning of anything in this one besides Thor and then Annie All, who is on the top. So this should be fun. I'm looking away when I do this. I don't like to spoil it. It's a big part of the fun, isn't it? It's like opening a pack of trading cards. So here they all are. It's pretty much impossible to not have the first one spoilt for us. Annie All, great villain. He is basically the main plot of the Annie All Nation crossover, which is an excellent story you should read if you have not. This is his data sheet here. Smurf from the Excellent Men, or Smurf from the Avengers. Maybe even Smurf from the Defenders. Actually, this one is a great one to fill out some teams at the end. After I have seen who I have gotten, I'll get out the yard cards and we'll put together teams. And then I'll talk a bit about my story, SeaWorld Attacks 2. The Evil Darth Knight. This was the last series where they would use numerals for characters. A good decision. The problem would be retcons. Concurrent with this series, actually, they introduced a retcon. The Anachronauts, remember them? One of them was meant to be the historical successor to the first Darth Knight, and that retroactively made this Darth Knight the third one. Forgot to show Smurf's back. I mainly wanted to see if they even bothered listing any Defenders issues in his significant issues, because nothing significant really happens with him in Defenders. They do, though. There's Defenders 104, Defenders 125, and then Defenders 152. Champagne, the Cosmic Fighter, fun first appearance, the boxing match with The Thing, Marvel 2-for-1 Annual 7. Be Still Pat Williams' Hearth. It is Darkstar. Patrick Williams is a subscriber. Pat Will 9. I've done a 180, and I've decided that it is not alienating to viewers for me to call out specific commenters. Eeyore, the cosmic entity from Captain Marvel's, the real one, Marvel, and then later Kaiser. Dead by this point. We never got an entry in these for iPod, his replacement. That is something I have thought about doing a video on. The characters who never got entries in the Master Edition. There are some insane ones, like Velcro, the cat, Kevin Bacon from the Bondage Club, Nimrod, the original Baron Zero, Frogman, Lady Death. I've barely even scratched the surface there. Toby Jones from Captain America, Alex Power, Major Victory from The New Warriors. I'm looking at the back here because I want to know if it erroneously lists his appearance in Affinity Gauntlets. It doesn't. Basically, Eeyore was dead by the time of Affinity Gauntlets, but he is drawn in that series, and the explanation is that it was iPod pretending to be Eeyore. It's to cover for an art mistake that they couldn't correct in time. Fantastic Force team shot. Well, this is the substitute members, the replacements, Seducer, She-Oaks, Miss McDonald's, Iris West, and then Luke Cage's. I need to properly look into it, but by the end of the series, I think they had maybe abandoned these team profiles. Oh, this is a great one to have. Etrigan. Etrigan the Demon from Defenders. Wonderful character. This is a good example of the art too. For this series we had one artist do all the art pieces, Neil Pollard. And that works to really sell us on how Etrigan looks. In the Hard Andy books, didn't we have Mark Beaver Etrigan art piece? And Mark Beaver does a good Etrigan, but as a reference, it's not great, because how do you judge what is the artist's style and what is the character's appearance? Here is Etrigan's reverse, making the same oversight that everything else has made. Etrigan's first appearance is actually in Defenders 93. You see him in shadows attacking the cat. It's not even, confusing. The next issue outright shows that it was Etrigan who grabbed her. Jet Set. We have got one of Emma Frosty's students, and I think this is the only one we ever got, excluding Firestart and Thunderpath, of course. A good example of a character who never receives an entry in these is M-Plate, the one survivor of this team, and the most major of the squad. Mr. Echo from Lost, created by Simon Waltonson for Thor, introduced in Secret Wars, What's Not to Love? Isaiah the Eye Father, Phineas's daddy. Another good argument for getting rid of the Roman numerals is that there sometimes are characters who share names and have no connection, so them being the second one isn't really apt. They are unaware of each other. This is an interesting one. Magic Mo. I have always thought of him as a Marky Mark J character. So many of his appearances are in comics by Marky Mark J, and it was he who transformed Magic Mo from the inspiration of Dr. Angst into a villain. Avengers 185 to 187, Marvel 2 for 174, Captain America 305 to 306, Kazar 11. What do all these significant issues have in common? The same writer, Marky Mark J. Oh, I'm interested in something about this. It does. It lists Amazing Spider-Man 283 as his first appearance. If you don't know, this guy was retroactively who Crusher and Jamelia Jamil were picking up from the airport in Amazing Spider-Man 283. They were getting him to join the Bastards of Evil in Under Siege. It is generally believed that originally it was meant to be Dead Knight, but Tom Falcon went back in Thor and tied off that loose end with this new villain, a Seagirl. We're getting some big ones for SeaWorld Attacks 2, it seems. There is a Super Statistics. Spawn, Al Simmons. Where's Wanda? That is his catchphrase. Spawn's catchphrase. That is it. Where's Wanda? Rhino Man. This feels like a fairly decent assortment of characters. A lot of kind of major or recognisable ones. Except for Jet Set. Sidewinder. more Serpent League of America. There's another one, by the way. There are members of the Serpent League of America we never get in this. Samantha Mamba. That is a major one. We never get a Samantha Mamba profile. And she is one of the most utilised members. She was on the Serpent Society of America beforehand. Black Racist. She never gets one. Boom Slang. Coach Whip. I'm unsure if Furderland's got one. Egyptian Thanos. Spanx. One of my dad's favourite gags in the world. He has two. Two favourite jokes to ever do. One is, instead of saying thank you very much, he will say spank you very much. And he still laughs and chuckles afterwards. The other is, he likes to, this is lame as all hell. He likes to go through the drive-through fast food restaurants, and he always likes to insist that his order is to go. He's a simple kind of man. And this is the one profile in this collection I have fuck all to say for. And now here is Thor. He was the reason I got this. I needed Thor. I really desperately needed Thor so that my made up story could have a lead character. We actually get 2 Thor entries in this series. The other one being for 90s Thor, when he was Thor. And I think that profile comes after this one. And then 90s Thor gets another one in the last issue. Here is Thor... No, it's not. Missed one. This is Thor's back, and it actually has a picture of 90s Thor. And we didn't even bother with the bibliography section. Like Captain America and some others, there's just too many issues to list in a section like that. But that is weird that they have a picture of 90s Thor there, and they didn't seem to... they didn't mention Thor 2 anywhere. They've got... But that was his human host for a while. They've got the name under former aliases, but Thor was bound to him before he became Thor. Is there any relatives? Maybe it's got... No, it doesn't list... Yeah, it doesn't list his son. It doesn't list 90s Thor's son. Why does it have a picture of a 90s Thor there? Oh, I didn't see this one coming. It is Tom Stone from Spider-Man. Robbie Robertson doesn't get an entry. I think there are only 4 civilians who receive entries. Dickie Jones, Catherine Hahn, who is in the very first issue, and 2 others who I have forgotten. Wang, Doctor Strange's friend, Wang, and someone else. Andrew Cord from New Warriors. We don't get Major Victory, but we get Cord. Then we have Until Dawn, Hulk enemy that was stolen from Hulk by Wolfman. Now, they definitely stopped doing these action shots, without a doubt. Captain America here, art by Kirsten DeWitt. On the back, we have his supporting casts. I think these were meant to replace the need to do an entry for some of these less than superpowered characters like Alfred. Although Alfred really should have a profile. We have a Spider-Man one too. Buscema Art, brother of Buscema Art. And then on the flip side, there's your Robbie Robertson. But where is Cat Grant? She is my favourite one, that isn't Felicity or Mary James. That's that done. And now, let's bring out my collection. Obviously, Thor can go with our Avengers, as can Smurf. Now, this is starting to feel like a viable Avengers team. We have Captain America, Smurf, Falcon Man, Mockingbird, The Flash, one of my favourite Marvel characters, She-Hulks, and then finally Thor. However, Smurf can also instead go with the Excellent Men, which we have shockingly few of. We only have 4 members. But then on the other hand, I noticed we have a pretty tight Evil Brotherhood of Evil, Muties of Evil here. Super Patriot, Irene from Sherlock, Saruman, Super Sabra, and then Eustace the Uncomfortable. I was convinced I had Blob Braveheart. I was sure he was in the Captain America one, but I didn't seem to have his profile. I must be misremembering. With the addition of Darkstar, our Russian team is fleshing out too. Although taking Russia Girl from them and then redirecting her to Defenders, well, it's nothing yet. Etrigan, Luke Cages, and Russia Girl. I suppose for the time being, Seagirl can go with them as well, I guess. Although when it comes to Seagirl, we now have 2 new warriors. It feels like a daft team to try and build, because one of the major members was never in this series. One of the more impressive ones is we are each helping getting more Serpent League of America characters. 6 of them. As for SeaWorld Attacks 2, Fairyland Attacks, Thor is our big addition to that. Thor is the blatant central character, with much of the story taking place revolving around him and his realm. The plot is that Set the Serpent God from the original SeaWorld Attacks has come seeking vengeance on the Thor villain Seth, for Seth hijacking much of Set's followers in ancient times. I do actually have more to the plot, but I'm waiting for the right characters to reveal it with. I have thought out some plot beats and motivations and whatnot. Honestly, this little Avengers team, I'm not against this being the Avengers team featured in SeaWorld Attacks 2, Fairyland Attacks. Smurf was in a lot of SeaWorld Attacks, so he might be in the sequel as well. He can be a member of the Excellent Men who gets called in as a reserve Avenger. Maybe his science expertise is needed for something. Or maybe he can impersonate Nelson Rockefeller again. With a lot of the action taking place in Fairyland, Mr. Echo is... well, Seth is attacking Fairyland again. That is one of the plot beats I've thought out. And this time, he wants to conquer it. And so he has made alliances with a few other notable Thor enemies or Fairyland enemies. Like Mr. Echo, he could be one. But I think Mr. Echo could switch sides or come to realise he is on the wrong side. If I remember, he was moderately sympathetic, right? Like, wasn't he after revenge on Christopher Eccleston? And then when he killed him, he became, like, peaceful. It's been a while since I've read Simon Waltonson Thor. Seagirl, I have said that SeaWorld isn't that relevant to SeaWorld Attacks 2, but I do want to maintain some connection. There are a couple of SeaWorld characters I want to hold on to. Seth has a long history that is intertwined with SeaWorld. And I think Seagull is one of the characters from SeaWorld that should feature in Fairyland Attacks somehow. Now here's one. With Seth and the Egyptian history, certain characters get a bit of a bump up in relevance. We have another Egyptian villain here. I would have to look at what dates the two characters were around. It might be that they never had any chance of crossing paths. But I think, at the very least, if there is a Fairyland Attacks tie-in story in the New Warriors comic, here is the obvious thing to feature. Maybe the New Warriors reluctantly team up with Spanx to try and oppose Seth, but they don't get anywhere because it is only a tie-in story. Now, Sidewinder, I am including the Serpent League of America, but I'd respect the stories and keep him retired. So he wouldn't actually be on the Serpent League of America in SeaWorld Attacks 2, Fairyland Attacks. Although Robert Kirkham did introduce a second Sidewinder. I say he introduced, I think it was just a continuity error that they then covered for by saying that it was a second one. I think that's it. None of the others scream SeaWorld Attacks 2. Magic more maybe, depending on how much Chthon factors into it. And I do like to think ones like Etrigan are on a team like Defenders that probably will be involved. And that is them all put in order. And this series is so good that the one thing I wanted, a better character to put on top of the pile, I got in this issue. Characters that I want. Let's have a think. I do want some more of the Brides of Set, Invisible Wife and Charlotte Witch. Charlotte Witch, definitely. She's a big one. I need her. She is another character who I have singled out as one of the central characters for SeaWorld Attacks 2. Her and Thor. They are the two central heroes, I reckon. Kazar, Thing, Doctor Strange, Seth, obviously. I might have the one with him in. Our villains from the original SeaWorld Attacks. We never get an entry for Seth, unfortunately. But we do get Ursula. She is in issue 1. And then at some point we get Desard. I need more Fairyland, actually. Amanda the Enchanter, actually. Amanda the Enchanter, definitely. Oh, her sister. There's another character who doesn't get a profile in this series. Laura, no profile for her. Hercules Man, I want him. And then there's ones like Seaman, who I sort of want or need, but I don't have much to do with them in the story. And then outside of SeaWorld Attacks 2, there are some other characters I want because I like them or want them for team building. Spider-Man, Emma Frosties, Baron Zero, Wonder Man, Us Agent, Cables. More Defenders, Silver Surfman, Batman, Hulk. I do have the one with Hulk in it. And I have the one with Silver Surfman. Slayer Man. There's another Defender who doesn't get a profile. The Cat, Velcro and Slayer Man. How am I meant to put together a Defenders team without those three? That was this Handbook. I think this is one of the strongest smatterings of characters. We have some A-listers, we have some very notable villains, we have a couple of dependable team fillers, and we have one or two characters who are so minor and so dead it is weird that they even got a profile in 1992. As always, this has been fun. If you liked it, then say so, or I'll think nobody liked it and I'll stop doing it. It's a 7 thumbs up from me.